If you're anything like me, sometimes you feel a restlessness that pushes you to keep looking for the next tool, the next mentor, the next modality, hoping that it's going to be the magic bullet that just finally allows you to break through, to clear your limitations, and to really come into the perfect version of yourself. But the truth is, sometimes the boldest abundance move is in saying, I don't need anything else right now. Time and space actually expanded for me when I just started to allow the integration to really become the priority and stop chasing the growth all the time. And the thing is, even though I was doing less, actually my business wasn't slowing down. On my own journey of building this YouTube channel, of starting out a spiritual business, of becoming a completely new version of myself, I noticed a pattern starting to emerge. I was constantly chasing the next thing, the next training, the next mentor, the next certification. And it wasn't just because I needed all of them. It was because I was actually racing against reality in some ways, because it was harder to integrate, alchemize, and then represent all of the information and all of the learnings and teachings than it was to just keep on moving to the next thing. So I realized that this was actually holding me back from abundance in at least 4 ways. So I'm going to describe those to you and talk about how they can really be transformed from shadows into gifts. And if you're someone that identifies with this feeling of restlessness, of always jumping about, wanting to do this thing and then that thing, and then maybe now it's this, maybe now it's that, then this really is for you. And I hope it can help you to see this quality within yourself as holding a great deal of potential, not just as a problem that needs to be solved. So the first way that jumping from thing to thing was holding me back from abundance was I was just burning out from what they call shiny object syndrome. There's actually a term that I learned quite recently, and when I looked up what shiny object syndrome is caused by, I saw that sometimes it's a fear of missing out, right? Seeing what other people are doing and wanting to be part of it. It could be a lack of focus or a lack of discipline. It actually could be about low self-worth. You know, you feel like you always need to do more, to be more qualified, to learn more, you know, to acquire more skills before you can go out and share your gifts and do what you want to do in the world. It can also be to do with not planning well enough, not having clear enough goals. Well, that's at least how it's described. But I do think there's something deeper that underlies this shiny object syndrome, where we're constantly looking for the next thing. And as I mentioned earlier, in my opinion, it's to do with the restlessness that comes when we are not comfortable with where we are in this one precious present moment. And let's face it, sometimes the present moment is just inherently uncomfortable, especially when you're trying to create something for yourself. Like for me, it's creating a business and a new life for myself. And sometimes, honestly, it feels like an ache with how difficult it can be to stay focused, to stay on course, to trust that this process is the right direction, the right alignment with purpose, and it is going to bring the long-term abundance and true wealth that I'm deeply craving. But the problem isn't just in chasing the new things, it's how we relate to the ways that we're chasing new things. And so I want to offer a really powerful reframe. If you're experiencing something like shiny object syndrome, what if it's actually a sacred thirst for knowledge? Like for me, I'm not one of those people who is designed to just deep dive into one thing for their whole life, their whole career. I see people who are like that and I admire them so much, but it's not my path. I know I'm not built that way. I'm built to explore lots of different avenues and to turn them into my own wisdom and to share them with the world. And maybe that's the case for you as well. And there's a real difference between that being part of your blueprint and that being something that you get to turn into a gift of curiosity, of wisdom transformation, of teaching, right? And a kind of restlessness that just pushes you to always look for the next thing. They're very different energies. So if you're feeling like you're constantly looking around and you're distracted by one teacher and then another topic and then another, ask yourself whether there's a real gift in the feeling that you have that you want to explore lots of different options, because it might be that this is something that's really valuable to you because of the way it allows you to have new experiences, to transform the learnings into things that you pass on to other people. So you see, we can label something as shiny object syndrome, and then we make it like a pathology that's problematic. But actually, let's not do that for a moment. Let's look at this desire to explore different things as the seed of an incredibly powerful potential gift. The second thing I realised was that I just simply wasn't digesting the information that was at my fingertips, right? I'd taken so many different courses, bought so many different master classes, even bought books that I haven't read and all of that sort of thing. And I realised that there really is so much more available to me that I get to deep dive into rather than continuing to purchase more and more and more things. And this is very likely true for you as well. It's like, I bet you anything, if you went back to a book that influenced you 5 years ago and read it now, there would be so much more in there than you got the first time round or the second time around, because you're a different person now. And so I decided to just take a sacred pause and not buy anything else, not sign up for anything else, not enroll in anything else until I had had some space and time to let myself actually integrate some of the things that I've invested in over the last few years. And I am very proud of how much I've invested in my own growth, my own training, my own learning. It's been necessary. But again, it's not always about keeping on doing that with no integration process afterwards. So my invitation here would be to just pause for a bit and say, okay, what is it that I already have at my fingertips that I could go a layer deeper with, that if I reread, that if I re-engaged with, that if I repeated, I would actually extract some more depth and more wisdom from, and see if there's anything that kind of comes up, because there's probably a lot more that you already have than you realize. The third thing was that in constantly moving on towards the next program, the next mentor, the next tool, the next method, etc., I was actually forgetting to really honor and celebrate my own growth. I suspect that if you're watching this, if you're interested in creating a new life for yourself, developing a new project, creating your own business, bringing your gifts into the world, that you are now tangibly quite a different person from who you were perhaps a year or 2 or 3 ago. I know that for myself, sometimes it's uncanny how different I feel from the Charlotte that was in a different life, back in 2020. So the thing about this is to remember the power of the distance you've travelled, and to remember how important it is to actually celebrate that. You literally have to stop and take time to actively notice how much you have changed. What are you really proud of in the last few years? How much have you shifted? What do you think the biggest transformations have been? What have you achieved that's meaningful, and it can be an internal achievement or transformation. It doesn't have to be about big external markers. It can literally be proud of the way that you've been able to tap into your higher frequency of love. Maybe you feel proud of choosing one timeline over another. Maybe you feel proud of having stood your ground when the people around you didn't really understand what you were doing. All of these things really matter, and it's such a waste to forget to do that. So I would really invite you to just take a pause. Let me know, tell me in the comments, what is something that you're proud of in terms of the way you've shifted. The fourth thing that I noticed happening was I was actually getting pulled in way too many different directions. There were so many opinions around me. I was listening to too many different strategies and approaches and ideas, and I actually couldn't anchor myself in my own sort of path, really, because there were so many different options and different, ways being presented to me. And this was where I really had to tap into that deeper discernment and let myself really feel which opinions, which philosophies really feel like sustainable, relevant, resonant ones. Is this thing that I think might be the magic bullet persistent? Do I keep feeling the itch? Do I keep wanting to explore this over a week or 2 weeks or a month? Or is it just sort of a passing infatuation that I can actually let go? And I can really quickly now discern the difference, because you can come here on YouTube and there's a million things that you want to watch and there's a million promises. It's so tempting and so exciting, but if you listen to too many different ones all at once, you're never going to really find the stability within yourself, the golden thread, as it were, of what is actually true for you on that longer, more sustainable basis. So find your discernment, find what persists, and go with that. And if it's just a passing infatuation, that's great, bless it, let it go, and then you stay on course with where you're really wanting to go. So I saw all of these ways that I was stopping myself from feeling my own abundance in the moment. And when I did really choose to slow down, to pause, to take some time for really deep integration, quite a few things happened. I felt so much more open. I felt so much more relaxed. I started to access my own insights, my own original thoughts. I started to get much closer to being able to develop my own intellectual property, as opposed to only being able to sort of receive other people's ways of looking at the world. I felt much less pressure. I felt like I was actually able to bend time. I could get things done in a day in a very relaxed way, because I wasn't feeling like I constantly had to be adding new stuff, learning new stuff, attending new webinars and things like that. So time and space actually expanded for me when I just started to allow the integration to really become the priority and stop chasing the growth all the time. And the thing is, even though I was doing less, actually my business wasn't slowing down. I was receiving requests for sales calls regularly, consistently, even as I was just taking this time for deep integration and space. And so it really taught me that constant chasing of growth is not the way. It is just not the way. And you probably know this, but sometimes we just need that reminder, and we need to reframe the fact that we are looking for different things all the time, not as a problem, but as the seed of a gift. Because the truth is, when you start to look for the learnings within your different interests, that's when they start to become the mature realization. instead of the restlessness and the constant seeking, because that constant seeking is not gonna soothe the ache of how hard it is to be in the present moment. It's just really not. The only thing that does that is coming into presence, tapping in with the body, with the breath, all of our mindfulness practices, our embodiment practices, the ability to tune into what matters most to you. And what matters most to you comes to you when you're resting, when you've got more space, when you're not just constantly adding. So this is what I've learned. And, you know, my invitation to you is to just explore, if you're feeling this constant pull in a million directions, what can you do to stop now for a bit? Pause, integrate, go deep into what's already here. And let me know if that makes you connect more deeply with the inner abundance that is already within you, and that is your birthright. So I hope that's helpful for you. And if you want to go deeply into your own unique abundance blueprint, then check out this video here.